As the Redskins prepare to meet the Cowboys on Sunday, it's their last game of the year. Many of the players might also be playing their last game. Some have already packed up and wondering where they'll be next year. One of those has to be number 21, Terry Allen, because Terry Allen has sort of, said, hey, look, Redskins, you either have to come up with a deal by February, or I will be out of here. The question is Sunday's game, could it well be the last game for Terry as a Redskin?
Well, I have to, because you never know what's going to happen. I approach every game as though it's going to be my last time I'm ever going to be out there. So, I go out and give you everything I got.
I'm sensing that you would like to be able to do this here, but you're smart enough and business-minded enough to realize you got to do what's best for Terry Allen.
Definitely, and that's just the way I'm going to look at it. I mean, they're going to look at it upstairs as a business, and I have to do the same thing.
Is this the time, though? Do you feel comfortable that they're going to make the right decision for you?
Well, I think they're going to make the right decision. I got to make the right decisions for me. It's not up to them to make it. It's up to me.
Terry Allen. The question is, will he be back next year? Well, if you heard any of the rumors about former Redskins coach Joe Gibbs becoming the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, forget it. It was never even really seriously discussed. Not only is it not true, but it's also not true that he agreed to the job and then changed his mind. He never changed his mind. He was never even interested in this job remotely. Joe Gibbs is quite happy with life the way it is. Coming up, 35 years of Redskin memories at RFK Stadium. This is one for the ages. News 4 at 6. For 35 years, the Redskins have called RFK Stadium home. This Sunday, hard to believe, it comes to an end as the Redskins play their final home game facing their arch rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, to commemorate this historic event, we have taken the 15 most memorable plays in the history of the Redskins at RFK. You can disagree, but we've called it 15 plus 1 because I said you guys didn't choose my favorite. We're going to add it. Let's go to RFK Stadium. For 35 years, RFK Stadium. It has been the home of the Washington Redskins. It has housed NFC championships. It has seen Hall of Fame players like Sonny Jurgensen, the great Golden Boy, and John Riggins. Unforgettable moments with Riggo. Unforgettable coaches like George Allen. George Allen, who could still be heard in that locker room. Some of the most memorable games in football history. This stadium is a shrine to the game of football. Tonight we relive 15 plus 1 of the greatest memories of all time. A crowd of over 37,000 people poured into D.C. Stadium for the very first game, October 1st, 1961. The stadium would be renamed RFK Stadium June 7th, 1969. The Giants here intercepting the Redskins. Dale Hackbart. The touchdown would help destroy the Redskins as they lost a lot back then. The Redskins had led at one point 21-7. They lost to the Giants 24-21. Skins didn't get their first win at the stadium until December 17th of that year. This is the play that had to be added. We call this play number 15 of the most memorable. December 16th. This is a great play. October the 1st, 1995. Redskins beat the Cowboys 27-23. It was the first win over the Cowboys under Norv Turner. It was an amazing play. The Redskins, I lost the play, sorry. Redskins won this game.
Once we got out there on the floor, you knew this was for real, and this was the old days, the Wild Wild West again. So, yeah, I was pretty fired up. Anything that I could have done, I was willing to do.
I'm sorry, that was the one that the Redskins, where they had their most memorable game under Norv Turner, with Joe Gibbs, rather, their last win under Gibbs. The 15th most memorable was December 16th, 1973. The reason it was special, Larry Brown, 3 touchdowns receiving, also had a rushing touchdown. The Redskins won big over the Eagles. The 14th most memorable came October the 1st, 1995, when the Redskins beat the Cowboys 27-23. This was the first time that Coach Norv Turner had gotten the win over the Cowboys. It was a game that Norv Turner said was not only a great victory for him, but also for all the Redskins fans who have been so patient.
It's a great win for me, but it goes a lot further than that. It's a great win for this team that's obviously bounced back 2 weeks in a row from very, very difficult defeats. It's a great win for our fans.
The 13th most memorable of all the games, January the 8th, 1984. Joe Theismann connecting with Charlie Brown. the Redskins would beat the San Francisco 49ers 24-21, winning the NFC Championship, earning their second straight Super Bowl appearance. As Joe Theismann said, this victory was as special as they could get.
We just, dug down and we felt like we had to dig down and go get it, and it managed to work out okay for us. Jesus, it's great! God, it feels good.
The 12th most memorable moment, January the 4th, 1992. Why was it so memorable? Because it's the day that everybody against the Atlanta Falcons would throw their seat cushions onto the field. Redskins beat the Falcons 24-7, advancing to the NFC Championship. The scene here came with all the seat cushions that have been given away. The 11th most memorable moment, November 27th, 1966. May have been the wildest Redskins game ever. The Skins and Giants scoring the most points in NFL history. The Redskins beat the Giants 72-41.
You must just say, did that really happen?
Well, I just remember at one stage during the game, George, it was 49-41. And boy, I had Sam Huff by the neck saying, how many points do we have to get? When are you going to stop them? And he says, keep getting them, keep getting them.
The top 10 most memorable games in the history of RFK. January 17th, 1988, NFC Championship against the Minnesota Vikings. Redskins were leading 17-10. Wade Wilson, a chance to tie the game with a pass to Darren Nelson. Broken up at the end zone by Darrell Green. The Redskins would go to the Super Bowl for the third time under Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs let out a sigh of relief. Tried to say thank you, man, to everybody. That was one that he had truly prayed for on the turf at RFK. The 9th most memorable moment was disaster for Joe Theismann. November 18th, 1985, Joe Theismann tackled by Lawrence Taylor. He suffered a compound fracture of his right leg. It would be the end of Joe Theismann's career, as he would never play quarterback again for the Washington Redskins. It also would be the opening of the door for the Jay Schroeder era. 8th most memorable moment in Redskins history, December the 14th, 1969. It would be the Vince Lombardi era. Sonny Jurgensen connecting with Charlie Haraway helped lead the Redskins past the Saints 17-14, getting the Redskins their first winning season since 1955. Vince Lombardi kept his record of never having coached a losing team intact. Sonny Jurgensen said it was like playing in the Super Bowl. 7th most memorable moment, January 15th, 1983. John Riggins running for a Redskins playoff record of 185 yards as the Redskins beat the Vikings 21-7. John Riggins would then give the bow that everybody remembers, and that will last forever in the minds of those who've ever been to RFK. The 6th most memorable moment, December the 19th, 1982, Mark Mosley making his 21st straight field goal to break Yarrow Premian's record and win the game for the Redskins. They beat the Giants 15-14. Mark Mosley said he had never been so scared.
My stomach was the first time I've ever noticed that my stomach was just extremely nervous. It was just vibrating from being nervous. But I was able to turn that in and make it a positive and make that, I think, the best kick of my career.
For the 5 most memorable games of all time, November the 28th, 1965. Sonny Jurgensen would lead the Redskins back from a 21-0 deficit to beat the Cowboys 34-31. Jurgensen with 3 touchdowns, including 2 to Bobby Mitchell, over 400 yards passing. Sonny would lead the Redskins to what is called the greatest comeback in team history. It was a moment that will last forever. We make number 5 in the list of great memories. For the 4th most memorable moment, October the 8th, 1973. The Redskins Cowboys. Final play of the game, 4th and goal on the 4. Craig Morton to Walt Garrison. Walt Garrison headed for the end zone is hit by Kenny Houston, who pulled him out of the end zone, stopping him at the 1-yard line. Redskins over the Cowboys 14-7. It was an illustrious ending to a great game. The 3rd most memorable moment, October the 12th, 1992, Monday Night Football versus the Broncos. Mark Rippon to Art Monk, his 820th career catch. Art Monk would become the NFL's all-time leading pass receiver, something he never expected.
Never dreamed it could ever happen. Coming into the league, I felt like I had some abilities, and once I made the team, I felt like I was able enough to hang around for a while, but to be where I am right now and have these type of records was nowhere near in my thinking.
Second most memorable moment, December 31st, 1972. It's the NFC Championship, Redskins Cowboys. George Allen knew how to rile up his crew.
Remember this, 40 men together can't lose, okay?
In this game, Billy Kilmer would connect with Charlie Taylor. The Redskins would beat the Cowboys to advance to their first Super Bowl. For George Allen and the Over-the-Hill gang, he said that game was better than any Super Bowl. The Redskins would lose the Super Bowl to the Miami Dolphins. So what's the number one most memorable moment and game of all time at RFK? We take the greatest moment of Redskins history, January 22nd, 1983 NFC Championship game against the Cowboys. Dexter Manley personally took control of the game. First, he knocked out Danny White, causing the fumble. Then, people forget that he also ensured the victory when he would get Gary Hogaboom, who was the backup quarterback, tipping the pass into the air to Darrell World Grant, who would go in for the touchdown. The Redskins beat the Cowboys 31-17, earning their first trip to the Super Bowl under Joe Gibbs. Jack Kent Cook, who had waited for so long as an owner of this team, finally was going to go to the Super Bowl.
We have a team, and it's been said many times, it's just a team, and all I can add to that, it is one hell of a team.
Joe Theismann leaving the field, destination the Super Bowl. The embrace between Dexter Manley and Joe Gibbs. And of course, the Hogettes. For all these years, Mickey and company have been there with the band, the Redskins Marching Band, which is so very, very special, and the Redskinette cheerleaders. It has always been a special place to play football. From Sonny Jurgensen to Joe Theismann, Vince Lombardi to Joe Gibbs, RFK is a stadium that will always be filled with memories. And we'll take the top five and we'll do some changes on that for you tonight, but it will still be those five.
You mean you won't change the order?
You can't change the
I don't think you
can
change
disagree
the order.
if you want, but that's the way we saw it.
I don't disagree, except I would put Kenny Houston's play up in
I know what you would do. Take a
top
night.
three.
Thank you.
Oh, that was
Could go
awesome.
on and
Do you know
on.
I was
Nightly
there
News with Tom
for
Brokaw is
5
coming
of
up
the
next.
best. What did you say?
See you at 11.
We'll be back at 11. I was there for 5.
The Redskins made history yesterday with their final appearance at RFK Stadium, and many fans took home a piece of history, tearing up the field in the process. Jim Popkin joins us live in the newsroom with a damage assessment. Jim?
Well, Doug, stadium officials told me that they expected to lose some of their turf yesterday. What they didn't expect to lose, so many stadium seats.
They swarmed the field in droves, desperately clutching for keepsakes. For Redskins fans, yesterday marked the bittersweet end of an era. But back at RFK, today marked the beginning of a nightmare. Fans gave new meaning to the term season seat holder. They stole or tried to steal hundreds of seats, leaving gaping holes or metal skeletons behind. Both end zones look like minefields, with giant clumps of turf claimed as souvenirs. Stadium manager Tony Burnett has worked at RFK for 34 years. He took a pragmatic approach to yesterday's destruction.
It was a lot more breaking seats than we really wanted. I mean, but there was no way we can control it. We were just hoping it wasn't going to be as awful lot of them, carrying seats out. And we got some of them back, but I'm sure some of the fans got seats at home, and they got a part of our, I guess.
Burnett could not put a dollar figure on the damage, but repairing the seats alone will cost thousands. Police arrested 20 fans for disorderly conduct out of the thousands who stormed the field. Today, crews were hard at work cleaning up all the trash. Their job was more difficult than usual, what with the maze of broken seats.
And the chairs are broken in the way, and we have to push the trash down the steps, and the arms of the chairs are mixed in with the trash, and it makes the trash heavy, so it's a job. Yeah, it is a job.
Now, coming up on News 4 at 6, we'll tell you about a worker at RFK Stadium who let the Redskins borrow a flag, a banner, an old Redskins banner that his father had given him years ago. Someone stole that banner yesterday after the game, and this worker now wants his family heirloom back. Doug Barber, back to you.
All right, Jim Popkin, thanks very much.
Well, despite the damage done to RFK yesterday, all will live on in memory.
With details on the game and the nostalgia associated with it, here's Wally Bruckner. He joins us from the sports office. Wally?
Thanks, Doug. And Barbara, how are you this afternoon?
Great.
You know, it was one of those rare meaningless games in one of the most fierce rivalries in the National Football League, the Redskins and the Cowboys. But the pageantry and celebration outdistanced the game, and folks recall 35 fond years of football at RFK. The Redskins close it out in high fashion with a blowout over the rival Cowboys, 37-10. And best of all, the Redskins put up their first winning record in 4 seasons as the curtain falls at RFK Stadium. The Redskins greats paraded out during a special halftime festivity. Dexter Manley getting one of the louder ovations. Wide receiver Art Monk, who had so many splendid days and nights patrolling the field. John Riggins and Sonny Jurgensen sharing some laughs and some memories. 33 players in all introduced at the half. The pageantry obviously outdistancing the game. The game itself, fourth quarter, Redskins in front by 20. Terry Allen, his third touchdown of the day. He rushed for 87 yards, beating John Riggins' single-season record with 1,353. Redskins win big. Terry Allen says it was a job well done.
You know, everyone was keeping up with it over there, and you know, the offensive line really wanted to go out and get it, and they was doing a great job blocking up front, and it worked out for us.
And, you know, that's the best I've felt about a football game in a while. You know, just being out there, being excited, knowing everybody wants to play, knowing everybody's going to give 110% no matter what, because all the, you know, like you said, the pageantry and everything that's going on. And the fans were wonderful. You know, we're going to work hard in the off season so that we get to this point again. It is going to mean something.
Gus Farrat, the season began at 7-1. It closes at 9-7. They missed the playoffs, but as Gus just said, now they carry into the offseason some optimism and a lot of hard work ahead, already looking forward to next year at a brand new stadium. We will join you in just a little bit, and we will take you further inside the locker room, as well as share some more thoughts from some of the guys involved in the special halftime festivity. Doug, back to you.
All righty, Wally. Thank you.
Yesterday marked the bittersweet end of an era. But back at RFK, today marked the beginning of a nightmare. Fans gave new meaning to the term season seat holder. They stole or tried to steal hundreds of seats, leaving gaping holes or metal skeletons behind. Both end zones look like minefields with giant clumps of turf claimed as souvenirs. Stadium manager Tony Burnett has worked at RFK for 34 years. He took a pragmatic approach to yesterday's destruction.
It was a lot more breaking seats than we really wanted. I mean, but there was no way we could control it. We were just hoping it wasn't going to be as awful lot of them, you know, carrying seats out. And we got some of them back, but I'm sure some of the fans got seats at home. They got a part of our, I guess.
Burnett could not put a dollar figure on the damage, but repairing the seats alone will cost thousands. Police arrested 20 fans for disorderly conduct out of the thousands who stormed the field. Today, crews were hard at work cleaning up all the trash. Their job was more difficult than usual, what with the maze of broken seats.
And the chairs are broken in the way, and we have to push the trash down the steps, and the arms of the chairs are mixed in with the trash, and it makes the trash heavy, so it's a job.
It's going to take weeks, even months, to repair the hundreds of seats that are broken or missing from the stadium. But one longtime stadium employee fears that what he lost yesterday can never be replaced.
Electrician Aubrey Mayhew has worked at RFK for 24 years. His father used to work for the Redskins and gave him an original Redskins banner, at least 40 years old. It was flying on a flagpole over the stadium yesterday, but in the post-game madness, someone stole Mayhew's family heirloom.
So how do you feel today about losing this?
Oh, it's a very disappointing feeling, you know. I'd like to have the flag back.
Missing one Redskins banner, hundreds of chairs, and handfuls of now historic grass. Jim Popkin, News 4, Washington.
The Redskins say they will accept Mayhew's banner back, no questions asked. Stadium officials also say they'll be ready for the next event at RFK. It's a big touch football competition scheduled for early in January.